Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and today we're doing a comparison between the two top keyboards for the iPad Pro 2018. That's the 11 and the 12.9. One is from Logitech and the other one is from Apple. Let's check them out. Now, just over a week ago, Logitech released their Slim Folio Pro case line for the iPad Pro 2018, and this was both for the 11 and the 12.9. Now, I've been using the Apple version for quite some time now, and I've also been really typing away and using the Logitech one on my iPad Pro. So in this video, I hope to compare both of them for you so that as you're considering which case you should go to, you'll have a better sense of the pros and cons of each. Now, some of you may already have the Apple keyboard, and the question in your mind is, should I upgrade? Some of you don't have a keyboard at all and may be wondering which one should I get. I hope to answer both questions in this video, so let's get right to it.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell icon to get notified when new videos become available.
Now, the first thing we're going to take a look at is the overall dimensions, look and feel of the cases because they're quite different. So first, let's go ahead and take the Apple Smart Keyboard case, and you can see how this looks. It's a very slim profile. The case itself is more like I wouldn't even call it a case. It's kind of like a slim shell. You'll notice right here as I remove it, it's very thin. There isn't really anything much to it. All it is this felt back and then the keyboard right here, which for a Pro makes it incredibly light, and it doesn't really take up that much space. So you can see how thin this is. Now, if we were to compare it here to the Logitech, now there's a big difference with the Logitech one. Notice the thickness in this one. This is much thicker, it is bulkier, and it also is heavier. If we were to put them side by side, let's go ahead and do that. Take a look at the difference there. Massive difference when it comes to the cases, but there is also a massive difference with the Logitech one. The first thing that we'll notice with the Logitech one is that the Logitech one has a lot of protection. So here we have our iPad Pro inside the case, and what you'll notice is that you have this bumper protection going all the way around. So what you're going to get with this case is enhanced protection to protect your iPad in the event that you do drop it. I would also argue that it will help with those of you that may be concerned about bending because the case adds a little bit more structure than what you get from Apple. So as we look at the Apple one again one more time, you'll notice that the Apple one really doesn't have much thickness to it and structure. So while the keyboard is firm and is going to help support, really the back is not going to do much for you. So biggest difference between the two is going to be one is going to be thicker than the other, as you can see, but one is going to give you a lot more drop protection if that's important to you. So now what about Apple Pencil support? So this is the disappointing part with the Apple case. So Apple's case has nowhere where you can store the Apple Pencil. So literally, if I have my Apple Pencil and I were to put it right here, that's pretty much where it would go, and this is how I would travel with it. In the event that I bump this or I shake it, this Apple Pencil will just fly off. So it's really just being retained based on the magnet. That's it. Now, if we take a look at the one from Logitech, there's a different implementation when it comes to the support of the pencil. The pencil would basically be supported right here. And you notice how it's placed in there in that place. And then when I lock it in place, it's going to be secure in this manner. So you can see how it's secure here. It's not going to fly away because it has this very strong magnet that is holding it in place, this kind of cover that's going over it. So take a look at that. That's going to be your protection. And in a previous video, I showed how you can shake it and it's not going to fall off. Now let's look at how these keyboards are powered. So the Apple keyboard is powered by contact points. Let me show you where they are. So you notice that here you have some contact points, and these contact points connect with these contact points here. So there's no power. You don't have to worry about anything. As soon as you open up and put the keyboard in place, you are ready to go. You don't have to worry about charging it. It's just there, and it's using the power coming from your iPad to power it. Now the Logitech one is a little bit different. So the Logitech one is going to require you to charge it, and there is on this side right here a USB-C cable. So that USB-C cable port is going to be required in order to charge it. Now the one thing about this is that the battery will last 3 months. So you get 3 months battery life versus one that will always be charged because it's going to be connected to your iPad power source. But there is also another difference between the the two, and we're going to see that when we start looking at the keyboard themselves. Now from an auto wake perspective, both of them support that feature. So if you open up the case, you'll find that your iPad will be ready for you and immediately accessible so that you can log in. Now let's take a closer look at the keyboards themselves because there are some subtle differences. So as you notice, the both keyboards, we won't talk about physical yet. Let's just talk about some of the options that are on the keyboard. So first of all, you'll notice that from a keys perspective, the keys look pretty similar at the very bottom row, but things actually start changing as you go up. Now as we move up on these, you'll notice that the last row on the Apple keyboard is the number keys, and it's not for the Logitech. So for Logitech, you actually have additional keys. You have battery check, you have multimedia controls, you have all of these buttons here that make it very convenient to use your iPad, and that's kind of disappointing because it's not available here. I don't know why Apple would eliminate them, but I find that all these are very convenient. So if you're looking for the actual controls, then you're going to want to stick with the Logitech. Now moving on to the actual physical attributes. So as you're using this keyboard, you'll notice that the spacing looks very similar, but it's actually a little bit different. So the spacing between the keys seems to be a little bit wider here on the iPad, and it's a little bit closer on this side for the Logitech. And in my opinion, I actually prefer this spacing much better. It feels a little bit more natural for me and more closer to what a standard keyboard would be like. The other thing is, listen to this. Notice the sound. I don't know if this will come up on the mic. So the actual clickiness, the feedback that you get from the keyboard doesn't exist. Now listen to this one. Do it this side. So I'm tapping harder. So this one has more of the springiness, the feel of a real keyboard. And I prefer it actually to typing because I found that as I'm typing with this keyboard, and you'll notice, as my fingers are on it, I sometimes feel that I may have not pressed hard enough or I don't really hear that feedback, and it really changes the overall experience when it comes to typing. This one over here, hear that? Sounds like a keyboard. And for whatever reason, for me personally, I just find that's more satisfying and it's more assuring when I'm typing. So I prefer this type of keyboard because it actually has that tactile feedback that I'm lacking on the Apple one. Next, let's talk about the actual positioning of the iPad when typing on both cases. So with the Apple, you do have two positions. You have the first position that you see here, and then you have a second position. So you can actually have a better angle, in my opinion, on both of these. So you can switch from one to the other, and it has a pretty strong magnet. So as I lift this up, you'll notice that the keyboard is going to be in place. It's not going to move, and it has, I think, an advantage when it comes to the Logitech. On the Logitech side, the Logitech keyboard also is magnetic, so you can raise it and it's in place, but it only has one angle, and it's just this one right here. It also gets placed in by a magnet, so you have this rubberized area here, which I guess you can put it there. I just feel that it's not secure because when you lift it, you see how it comes up? So I wouldn't really call that an angle. To me, the first position is this one right here. And you notice that as soon as it locks into place, the keyboard turns on. And this is the one that's going to give you the best typing angle on the keyboard as the iPads are both positioned. Next, let me show you a typing sample of what it looks like and feels like to type on each keyboard. So we're going to go ahead and type on this one. I'm going to go into the next line. This is a test of the Apple keyboard. And it's satisfying. It works. It's fast. It's real time. Let's try it now on the Logitech one. So I'm going to go into the next row. These are both being synchronized. This is a test of the Logitech. May have spelled that wrong. No, I got it right. Keyboard. There you go. Again, same kind of speed, no latency, even though one is direct connected and one is Bluetooth, but the difference is going to be on the feel of the keyboard when you type. I don't know if you were able to hear the typing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to type one more time. I'm not going to say anything so you can pick up the sound. So hopefully you could hear, what's the difference in the typing experience if that's something that's important to you. Now the other big difference that you have between the two is the lighting. This one has a backlit keyboard, which is going to be important if you are in dim areas, if you travel and you're on a plane, and depending on the time that you travel, the lights do get dim on the plane. So you can actually see your keys much better. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my key light so that you can see the difference between the keyboards. All right, so now let's take a closer look at the Apple keyboard. This is what it would look like. I only have one light source coming up on here on the side, and then this is what the light would look like on this keyboard. Now, for those of you who may not see it, because it's really about the angle and when you're looking at your keyboard, I'm going to tilt this over. I'm going to press the key so you can see how it's lit up and how it lights it up. And remember, you're still going to get that 3 months of battery life. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is price. So you have $199 for the Apple Smart Folio keyboard, and then you have $129 for the Logitech. And this is the pricing for the 12.9 versions. So big difference in price and also big difference in features. Would love to hear from you. Which one do you prefer, the Apple or the Logitech one? Thanks for watching.